Hi, everyone, and welcome to Red Ink Tarot. Today, I'm here to talk about the second week of Mercury Retrograde plus the full moon in Leo. There's a lot going on, so the energy is a little bit funky, but it's also really promising. So, to elaborate a bit more into what all of that means, well, first of all, the theme of this year has been relationships. So, Mercury going retrograde in Aries was we kind of started things off there with, I would say, the universe being a bit more forceful when it comes to us focusing on the relationships that honor us as opposed to the ones that don't. And then going into this full moon, which is also the second full moon of the month, which is a blue moon, the energy is there for releasing these relationships that do not honor us, that disturb our harmony. I would say the energy is especially favoring that right now. And what you may notice during this time, because Mercury is in retrograde and Mercury is a jokester, that you might see heightened conflicts around relationships that need to go. You might Your feelings might be heightened, your intuition may be heightened. Your intuition always kind of gets a little boost from the universe before you make changes, before it's time for you to make changes in your life. So, there may also be heightened conflict, greater tension, fighting. Things may, if you're in a relationship that does not honor you, any type of relationship, personal, professional, et cetera, you're feeling like it might be time for you to leave. It'll feel stronger than ever, and that's because it's time for us to leave these things behind. We can't, if you want to live your best life, you can't do it while you're entertaining things that don't honor you. Because as long as you allow things, as long as you allow relationships, especially relationships, as long as you allow those to not honor you, you can't fully honor yourself. So this period is kind of about letting go of the things that keep you from doing that, letting go of the things that keep you from fully embracing the power that you have. And just letting go of the things that keep you from growing and evolving and taking the next step down that path towards being the person who you're really meant to be. So things might be a bit peculiar right now. The energy may be a bit funky for you, but there is a great way to use it to your advantage. And it just starts with trusting your intuition. Your intuition is always going to be your greatest gift. So, and it'll always have more value than what anyone can say or do. There's more value in, because you inherently know what's right for you and what's not. And this is, even when you're not sure, even when you can't, even if you're in the fog and you can't quite see your way out, deep down inside, you always have a way of knowing. If you can bring the peace to yourself, if you can find your peace, find your calm, keep yourself grounded and centered, you'll always find a way to get the information that you need. So, with that said, I'm just going to pull a spread that's going to describe the energies of this moon. And let's get a better feel for what it's about. Okay, so things are looking a bit busy here. Let me just pull these down and so you guys can get a better view. Okay, so the three cards we have here, this is what's going on in the physical. We've got the Five of Swords reversed, describing the overall theme of the physical energy. And Five of Swords reversed is about, walking away from things which don't serve you, which is pretty much what I just said. Um, again, like I said, this period is going to be a great time for doing that. If especially when it comes to the things you feel you may not be able to leave behind, this is the perfect time to honor what you know is true to yourself and begin walking away from those. The Empress is here telling us that this is actually quietly a very fertile time for us in terms of growth, creation, um, manifesting, just bringing things in for yourself. And, the Empress is, personally, I always like to say that the Empress is a bad bitch in her own right. And she doesn't need the Emperor to define her. And this is true in this case. A lot of people need to reconnect with their inner, with their inner bad bitch. You have to reconnect with that part of you that is sovereign, that is autonomous. You have to realize that this is a time for you to stand up for yourself, to put yourself first, and to embrace all the things that you can do for yourself because you are powerful. The Empress is powerful. The Empress is abundant, and the Empress creates whatever she wants or needs to get from one point to the next. She's not relying on anybody else to give her what she wants. So we got this realization coming, and then we've got the Five of Pentacles, which is leaving. This is like the feeling that someone's being left out in the cold. But in this situation, I like this energy because this is kind of like the feeling that comes up here is just leaving that which does not serve us alone. This is leaving disharmonious relationships alone. People who have shown you that they will not honor you. This is the Five of Pentacles. This is you guys, starting to wake up and cut these people out so you can focus on bettering yourself. Now, the Nine of Swords here is it's a little concerning, but I don't think it's anything worth being afraid of. The Nine of Swords is just, concern. You've got the Five of Swords. You're walking away from something that doesn't work for you. But with the Five of Pentacles and the Nine of Swords coming up here, it's kind of telling me that, a lot of people they're feeling like they need to leave things behind that don't serve them. But a lot of these things have been very well established in their lives. Like these are toxic relationships that have been hanging around for a long time. Maybe at a job you've been at for a long time that you don't like, abusive, personal, romantic, family relationships. This is the worry coming up that, if I leave this, what do I have? And well, you have the Empress. So the energies around us, though, we have the Queen of Swords reversed, and we have the Four of Cups. And what's kind of guiding us from the Queen of Swords to the Four of Cups is the Four of Swords, which is restoration. So I'll make a bit more sense of this right now, actually. The Queen of Swords reversed is, leaving this space where you're not making the most of yourself. You're not making the most of your situation. You're not, your movement is not efficient. That's kind of what's coming here with the Queen of Swords reversed, because the Queen of Swords upright is about someone who knows how to cut, who knows what needs to be done and is willing to cut through anyone and anything to get it done. So in this reverse position, like a lot of people are kind of leaving a space where, they just kind of feel like they don't know what to do. And what I'm getting with this Five of Pentacles and the Nine of Swords, that makes sense because, again, these are heavy personal relationships that are going because they need to go, because they don't fulfill you. But the clarity is coming. The clarity is coming through the Four of Swords. The Four of Swords is it's two things, really. It's healing from the Three of Swords, which is wounding. Relationships that don't benefit, where there's no balance, where there's no, mutual give and take, they create trauma in us and they condition us to accept things like this. They condition us to accept less than what we deserve. So this energy here is very important because we're kind of realizing that, once we heal from this trauma here, we're left with the Ace of Swords, which is that realization, I deserve better. I'm cutting these people out, and it might feel a little bit scary, but I know I deserve better. And then moving on into the Four of Cups energy. And I like the Four of Cups energy, but it's also, it feels a little bit dubious because Mercury retrograde is not over yet. It'll be running. Mercury goes direct, I believe, April 15th, somewhere around April 15th. So some people, if you're feeling indecisive about whether or not you should leave a situation or not, that energy is going to float around you for a bit. But on the bright side, once you fully kind of transitioned into this Four of Cups energy by way of the Four of Swords, it's more like you're focusing, more like people are in. You can see here, we've got the Three Cups here, and also one big cup, but it's kind of like you're leaving behind. You're leaving these Three Cups alone because they're not giving you what you want. You're focusing on the fourth cup. You're focusing on which is in this situation, it comes across as the Ace of Cups, which is that emotional fulfillment you're working on manifesting. So it's a good sign of what's coming ahead because, as you can see, the fourth cup is here, which means it's been manifested. I think it's a very promising time for people who are dealing with the remnants of harmful relationships. Because what I'm getting here is, again, once you fulfill the Four of Swords, you kind of, once you heal from the Three of Swords, you're left with the Ace of Swords here, and you've turned your back on the fulfilling Three of Cups here. You're focusing on the Ace of Cups, and the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Swords. That's clear thinking and emotional fulfillment, and that creates a very fertile ground for what you want to create in your life, for what lies ahead for you. So I know a lot of you are feeling very uncertain about, whether or not to pull the plug on something. And, what the best thing I can say right now is, if you feel like it's time, if it's something that's been wearing you down, and if it's something that, if it feels like a burden, it's time for it to go. Which is not to say that, there's no such thing that all perfect relationships don't take work. They all take work. They all take effort. But again, this needs to be, it needs to be harmonious. You need to have a relationship, and this is with all relationships. This with anyone, professional, personal, family, your parents, especially your parents. You need to have a relationship that's equal parts give and take. You need to have relationships where where the people you are involved with honor you for who you are simply because you are, because that's your right. That's what you deserve, regardless of what anyone may say or think or what they may speak upon you. You deserve relationships where where someone isn't trying to foster codependency, where where people aren't trying to manipulate or mislead or make promises that they can't or won't keep. If there are people in your life who they talk real big shit but they can't follow it up, cut them out. If you made it very clear to people how you wish to be engaged and they won't honor that, cut them out. Because if you're worried about losing the history, if you're worried about walking away from something you've invested so much time in, it's that time is in the past. And it's honestly, it's unfair to you and it's unfair to the person that you want to become if you're compromising your present and sacrificing your future simply to honor the past. Because that's not the point of life and that's not the point of lessons. You learn your lesson so you can apply it. If you're taught that a relationship is not going to honor you, then you need to take that lesson with you and take yourself out of that relationship. Because again, there may be lingering, because swords are thought and cups are feelings. So there may be lingering thoughts and feelings about leaving these situations behind. Sorry about the glare, you guys. But there's something greater ahead. There's always something greater ahead. You can't wait for the universe to try and bring you something amazing when you're holding on to trash and you won't let it go because your hands will be full. It doesn't work. So if you've been putting this Mercury retrograde period to work for you, then you've had some chances to reflect on. You've had some chances to slow down and reflect on. Where's the harmony in your life? Where's the fulfillment? Where's the disharmony? And how can you fix it? So this retrograde period is going to keep showing you those things until you make a change, and it's also going to keep making things more uncomfortable for you because it's time to grow. Growth isn't comfortable, and sometimes you have to leave some things behind that were very special to you, but that doesn't mean that all is lost. There's more coming. So it's time to clear people away who don't honor you. Freeze them out. And don't give them another thought because, quite frankly, they don't deserve it. Okay, everyone, that's going to be the reading for the full moon in Libra and going into the second week of Mercury retrograde. If you guys haven't noticed this retrograde period, there's a lot of people who have a tendency to, I've noticed on Twitter, on social media, because I'm on there all the time. I notice a lot of people who have an issue with talking out of turn and then getting themselves put right back together for it. So, again, this is retrograde period. Make sure you're double checking and triple checking everything before you commit to it. Be patient with yourself. Save yourself more time than you think you need, because if you don't, it can be quite a mess. But that's the reading. That's all for now, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.